We begin in Abuja, where the Supreme Court has put on hold its judgment in the ongoing legal battle over the Edo State governorship election, leaving the fate of Senator Monday Obekpolo hanging in the balance. The Apex Court on Thursday announced that it would communicate a later date for delivering its verdict after hearing final arguments in the appeal filed by Asue Ighodalo and his party, the People's Democratic Party. Justice Guber, who presided over the proceedings, made it clear that judgment had been adjourned indefinitely. At the center of the dispute is Ighodalo's request to be declared winner of the poll on the grounds that he secured the majority of lawful votes cast during the election. But the Independent National Electoral Commission, represented by senior advocate Kanu Agabi, challenged the appeal, asking the court to dismiss it entirely for lacking merit. INEC argued that Ighodalo and the PDP had contradicted themselves by first describing the election as illegal, only to seek validation through the favorable declaration.
The appellant, as the PDP, came back to the Supreme Court on same issues to canvass an issue that is a mere academic exercise. I don't know what they want the Supreme Court to do. Whether they're going to manufacture all that is from heaven, I don't know. But so far so good. We are good to go. APC is good to go. The government is good to go.
First, I want to thank the judiciary. It's the hope of a common man. We've gone through first stage, second stage. This is the third one, and it's not a news to us. We won the election clearly, but the opposition decided to drag us all the way to Supreme Court. But by the grace of God, the judgment has been reserved, and we are very, very hopeful that it's going to be in our favor.
This is a done deal for Senator Monday Obekpolo because I've been issued from the lower court to Court of Appeal. You see that beyond being inconsistent, you cannot be challenging the result of a whole state and you'll be bringing only 5 witnesses to come and defend that. It's an abomination to, as far as electoral law is concerned, it's an abomination. You must be able to prove beyond reasonable doubt. And one of the ingredients, one of the major things you must deal with is to advance witnesses, to defend what you are alleging. And in their own case, it was not like.
Well, joining us live from Lagos for further insights at this legal case is a practitioner, Todimu Ige. He'll be sharing his thoughts on this with us. Mr. Ige, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
So what are your thoughts on the Supreme Court's decision to adjourn this case indefinitely involving the governor, of Edo State, Obekpolo and Ighodalo?
All right, yes, it is within the constitutional power of the Supreme Court to adjourn for judgment or to reserve its judgment sine die. What that means is that it has adjourned the judgment indefinitely. And when the Supreme Court does this, it is premised on 2 or 3 things. Number one is to, when issues have been raised, is to enable the court to look into the merits and the substance of the case and the arguments adduced by the parties. So he's saying that he wants to take time to review evidences and to review the submissions of the parties and come back with a decision. So adjourning indefinitely is not out of the blues and it's not something new.
But then don't you think that this would be a major setback for Ighodalo, who's actually seeking justice through the courts?
Well, you know, the Section 36 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is also very clear that justice must not be delayed, because justice delayed is tantamount to justice denied. I strongly want to believe that the Supreme Court, though it has adjourned sine die indefinitely, would definitely not take too much of a time. He just did not want to box himself into a corner to say that judgment will be read in a week, it will be read in 2 weeks. Sine die, if he says indefinitely, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will take forever to deliver his judgment. And I want to believe that, considering that his matters are time-bound, the tenure of the governor is time-bound. I want to believe that the Supreme Court of Nigeria would work speedily on the judgment and call the parties and deliver its judgment in due time.
Now, Asue Ighodalo's team argue that he actually scored a majority of lawful votes, but some people are saying that his counsel has not been able to present irrefutable evidences to back up his claim. How do you see this?
Now, well, the parties, the Constitution is very clear that if a party is aggrieved or unhappy as to the outcome of an election, particularly the election of the Electoral Act, you can approach the court. And now, how do you win a case in court? The court would only review your matter on the preponderance of evidence, what you bring to the table, and it will be put on a scale. That's the essence of a scale. The court views your submission, the evidences that you have, and weight. And now we must be very clear that if you present one witness or two witnesses, it doesn't matter. Some would even present 100 witnesses. It doesn't matter. What matters is the weight that will be attached to the evidence that has been presented by these parties. Is it credible? Can the court build something on the foundation of the evidence that they have presented? Yes, of course, that would be left to the discretion and, of course, the wisdom of the Supreme Court justices.
So then how fair is it to now have the electoral umpire, that is INEC, also join and take a position over such an electoral dispute? Is it really lawful?
Yes, when you go to court, there's what we call local standard. Local standard means that who has a right to be heard, who has a right to be in this case. INEC being the umpire, the one that conducted the election. Now the challenge is that they are saying that INEC has not conducted the election fairly. They have not complied with the provisions of the Electoral Act. So it is only appropriate that there be a right party to be joined in the suit because they have to say what they know about it. And I think that it's appropriate that they are joined as a party because they are the umpire, they conducted the election. If there is any misgiving, if there is any error, if there is any part they played that was not proper and fair, it is only proper that they are joined as a party. And if the court gives the decision to say, we are reversing this election, it is also fair that INEC is joined because the order of the court will be to INEC to conduct another election. So it is only appropriate and proper that they be joined as parties to the suit.
All right, so what are you predicting eventually if the Supreme Court would give a verdict, looking at all the evidences presented before the judge? Do you think that justice will be served, whether or not it sways in the favor of Asue Ighodalo?
The duty of the court is to ensure that justice is done. And what is justice? Justice must not just be done, it must be seen to have been done. And I want to believe strongly that the Supreme Court, which is the final hope of the common man, will look into the merits of this argument and, devoid of sentiment, devoid of emotions, rule in favor of the party who has been able to marshal his argument clearly and in line with the procedures and position of the Electoral Act of Nigeria.
All right. Thank you so much, Todimu Ige, for sharing your legal insights with us on the news.